What up? What's up, guys? Andrew Bishop here to do a quick review of Lecrae's mixtape, Church Clothes, but Volume 2. I don't want to make a long, in-depth review because I think if I get talking about it, I think I sound repetitive a lot in my videos. So to be on point, I would say get the mixtape. Definitely download it from datpiff.com, lecrae.com. I'll put the link in the description. Absolutely get this mixtape. That's kind of like my very short, simple review. Get it, it's worth it, it's great. Now, if we were to go into depth just a little bit, I would say it isn't my favorite Lecrae project. I know some people are saying that it's amazing, and I will be honest. I think, and this is my fault because I set expectations up high. It's my fault that I'm a little disappointed. It's not that the mixtape is disappointing. I'm just saying I'm disappointed because my expectations were high, so it was kind of my fault for doing that. The Propaganda song was great. Propaganda's verse was ill. But Lecrae's verse is the same verse that he spit in the Rock the Bell cipher. So having heard that, and in my opinion, him singing it live or rapping it live is better than on the CD because you got the crowd reaction. He's into it a little bit more. So I was a little disappointed that it wasn't new material in that regard. It's a great verse. He praises Jesus. Don't hear me say that in the mixtape he doesn't preach Christ, because he does. But just hearing that verse, months before or whatever, it was just kind of like, man, kind of wish it would have been new material. Also, when the mixtape was advertised, it was like, oh, it got B.O.B. on a track. Well, I knew he had done the Round of Applause song. I had seen it. I had gotten that song. I thought it was a new track. And again, that would be my misperception on it. But the fact that the B.O.B. track was Round of Applause, which we had already heard, I was a little disappointed in that regard too. Again, the mixtape is a solid mixtape. It's a good mixtape, but it's a mixtape. Meaning, this is someone who was bootlegging, getting mixtapes shipped to me from Detroit when I was in high school. 13, 14, 15 years old. I was sending money orders to Detroit, getting mixtapes. I was having my parents buy money orders. They were like, why? I'm like, all CDs. And having to know hip-hop for so long and getting mixtapes and then buying CDs, you can tell this is a mixtape. In my opinion, it's not the CD quality. The songs, the tracks don't make a good, in my opinion, or a great CD. Like in comparison to Gravity, Lecrae's album, I think Gravity is better. In Gravity, you would hear and say, yeah, that's CD quality. Now, I know on iTunes you can buy Church Close Volume 2 without the DJ Don Cannon. In my opinion, I think he helps make this mixtape better. Like, I like it. I like the feel of a mixtape because it's free and because you do have Don Cannon coming in. It kind of helps you remember, okay, this is a mixtape. And also, Lecrae said many times in interviews that the mixtapes are what he uses to kind of bridge a gap, if you will. Whereas you can't give someone a Lecrae track like Boastin' or God Is Enough. And if they're unfamiliar with Lecrae, unfamiliar with CHH, unfamiliar with Jesus, you can't expect them to listen to that and hear God is enough, enough, God is enough, enough. When maybe they're struggling with poverty, depression, or whatever, they're like, I don't know that God. Whereas you get a song with Lecrae, Paul Wall, Let It Whip, someone has a ride, they can relate to that. Lecrae even mentioned these mixtapes, they help kind of break down those barriers. And so I think in that regard it was very successful because I think he did. Now, granted, I didn't really like the Paul Wall verse. I didn't really like the song was okay. Again, Lecrae, said, okay, it isn't about materialism or materialistic objects. But overall, I rate the mixtape like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. But maybe even like 7 out of 10. I'm still, and that's why it took me a couple days to wrestle with making this review. Shout out to Justin Green, because when I heard it, I listened to it all the way through twice, and I was just like, maybe I was expecting more. I didn't really like. I'm Turned was good, but I was just I believe is probably my favorite track, or If I Were to Die Tonight, or If I Die Tonight, or whatever. Those are probably my favorite tracks on the mixtape. But I think it was my fault for expecting or wanting more. So don't hear this review say the CD's not good, or don't buy it. In fact, if you want to buy it on iTunes, I even recommend it. Sure, this is worth $10. Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as a fan, I was just a little disappointed. The beats were good, lyrics were dope, but I don't think it was Lecrae's best project. In fact, I think Church Clothes, the original, was one of Lecrae's best projects next to Rebel, if not his best. And I would rate, like Church Clothes Volume 1, then probably Rebel, then maybe Real Talk Rehab there, and then maybe Church Clothes Volume 2, kind of down, maybe right underneath Gravity. It's so hard to kind of rate because they're all good. Again, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not his best project. But I enjoy it. I listen to it. I recommend it. I've already told several friends to go download it. I blogged about it. I put it on Facebook. So don't hear me say it's not great, but it's not what I was expecting, and I was a little disappointed in some regards. But it is good. It is quality. So feel free to leave a comment below, maybe what you thought about it. Maybe kind of give me insight. Maybe I didn't see things that maybe you did. But I think it was successful in breaking down barriers. I think Lecrae, as he even said in an interview, he can say things on a mixtape he can't say on a CD. The audiences usually are different. And so I think Lecrae did a great job saying things that he couldn't say. Maybe people take it out of context or people read into it too much. So great project, good project. I wouldn't say great project. I probably have in this video, but realistically, if I put all my eggs together, I would say it's a good project. It's not great and it's not awful. It's a good project. Get it? Let me know what you think.